Hello, and welcome to Optimized, a marketing performance podcast brought to you by the Multifamily Media Network. I'm Janet Rosseth, your host, and a 25-year veteran of multifamily marketing. This podcast is going to challenge you to reach 1% better somewhere in your daily life, and optimizing is how we'll do that together. Whether it's bringing your personal best to your work and life, building efficient work processes, uncovering new trends, or making sense of meaningful data, we'll dig in together and find that 1%. Hey friends, very special episode of Optimized today. Coming to you with Mike Wolber from Apartment List, and we are hot off of the AList Runs For TX. Am I naming it correctly, Mike?
You nailed it.
Awesome. Okay, so I couldn't resist the opportunity to grab a couple of minutes with you. The momentum of AList Runs For TX took off so fast, and I saw so many people getting involved in it and just wanted to get on the mic and hear from you. Just all the things, the idea, the reach, the outcome, the impact. I think people really are going to be very curious to hear how this all came together and how they contributed to the end goal and what the impact was that we all participated in. So if you could, Mike, could you just introduce yourself and then tell us a little bit about how this all came together?
Yeah, happily. Thank you a ton for having me, Janet. My name is Mike Wolber. I'm the Chief Sales Officer of Apartment List. Been in our industry now for about 11 years. And like many people listening, I think on July 4th, it was like a really tough day. We're celebrating freedom and all these incredible things that we get by living in the U.S. And then we were faced with this massive tragedy in Central Texas. And multifamily has a huge heart. And Texas is the epicenter of multifamily. It's one of the biggest markets. We have more than 10 employees that live there. I have dozens of friends and family members that live there. And I think for some reason, this one hit harder than home. And so
yeah, I would agree with you that of all the natural disasters that have happened in the last couple of years, I'm one who gets really emotionally impacted by them, and I feel really helpless, especially when they happen so far away from Minnesota, and I'm way up north with nothing specifically that I can do. So this one hit hard for us too. We have a very small crew here. We've got 8 people, and one of them is in Beaumont, and she happened to be in Hill Country on the 4th of July. So it was scary and it was emotional. And I think like many others out there, we just really were seeking some way to get involved and help. And before we could even pull together the best links and the best information, there you were with a way to get involved and a way that we could actually, really share it and make it viral.
And that was really the goal. So, Jana, what happened is that we meet every Monday as an executive team. We call it CEO staff. And I had a couple just like personal impacts on this one. One of my colleagues had a daughter that was at a camp less than a mile away from Camp Mystic. And all weekend, we were like wondering and hoping if everything was going to be okay. Terrifying. And on Monday, my only update for C staff was like, let's talk about Homebridge, which is our social impact program. Most notoriously, we're known for partnering with multifamily customers, our partners, to provide units and housing when people need it. It's a very cool program. And it takes a couple days to get that off the ground, to work with partners, to find vacant units. And my idea was like, what can we do that's even faster? How can we use our network? LinkedIn is amazing. Getting outside is amazing. How do we create a moment that everyone can raise their hand to help? And so our CEO, his name is Matthew Woods, an amazing leader. He said, Mike, please use speed to our advantage. That's one of our operating principles. Go fast. So nothing was perfect, right? We used Google Forms instead of a custom website. We came up with a hashtag. But I will tell you that in the matter of 24 hours, we'd pledged more than $20,000 to the Kerr Flooding Fund. We had thousands of miles logged last year. I'm sure we'll talk about some of the impact, but it was really cool to see both network multifamily folks and non-network multifamily folks raise their hand and make a big impact last week.
It was really cool. Gosh, I love the using speed to the advantage there, and the fact that you didn't try to go the perfection route. You just threw a Google sheet up and a couple of hashtags and off it went. And I'm one of those who asked too, like, how can we help? We're not big. We don't have thousands and thousands of dollars, but we want to give something. And we were all really kind of floored that it was you responding on the other end of that. Like, you must have been on 24/7, just keeping it moving, keeping it moving. It was really, really impressive. So, do you
Yeah,
have
my
any concept?
LinkedIn, I
You
was
were
going to say my
everywhere.
LinkedIn was on nonstop last week. It's probably the most active week I'll ever have, I hope, on LinkedIn.
Did you have like 20 monitors and
I never have to charge this thing. It's like an iPhone 16, but I had to charge my phone multiple times a day last week. I mean, I was
wow,
getting phone calls, FaceTimes. Is it too late to
amazing.
log miles? Cool to see people rally. Really was.
Yeah, very cool. And I gotta say, like, we've had a lot of conversations on LinkedIn lately about the algorithms and the frustrating, like, sometimes things lag for 2 weeks, and you didn't have time for that to lag for 2 weeks. So I don't know if you were intentional about the fact that you had a strategy where people needed to upload a picture of themselves, or if that was even a strategy or somebody just started it, but that was brilliant right there because that kept things moving.
It helped. So what I did on Monday before our CEO staff meeting was I texted or called about 30 industry connections just to validate if anything else was getting formed because I was not looking to compete. I was looking to move fast. And everyone was like, "Oh no, we're talking about it, but what should we do?" So I reached out to Tony Sousa. He's pretty close. He's in San Antonio, and Marshall Friday, former multifamily alum. And they both said the fund everyone is rallying around is the Kerr County Flood Relief Fund. So bam, we like picked the foundation. Then it became, okay, if you guys aren't doing anything, would you be up for participating? Sure. And then, yeah, Janet, you nailed it. LinkedIn's been tough the last month. So it became all about virality. How do we create engagement? Because we thought engagement was probably our best bet to help this thing pop in the first couple of days, which it definitely did.
Yep, and I think we were all tagging each other and rallying each other, and, we host Cadence Run Club over here at Cadence Marketing Solutions, and there was just no more ideal moment. We have a running joke amongst all the marketers that are part of the community that there's no actual running necessary, and this was kind of one of those moments where it was like, "Hold up, lace up, we're running. Let's go." So it gave
Pretty
us a
incredible.
reason to really get out there too. Do you have any idea the reach? Were you able to capture that? I'm sure it's still reaching right now, but it was shared so widely. Are there any stats that you have on LinkedIn on the reach?
Yeah, so I went and like manually tried to do this. And I even used Chat GPT to try to do some combing of like the hashtags, the original post. From what I can tell, there were more than 500 reposts of posts, which is a lot of reshare. You posted, your whole staff shared it, just as an example. There were more than 14,000 likes from what I can tell, which is just like manually keeping track of all the different posts. The hashtag is the hard one because I'm even seeing posts on TikTok of people I've never met running for A-List. I'm seeing hashtags on Strava, and you can't really mine on Strava, but the hashtag is the one I wish we could really track the reach on.
Yeah, no kidding. Gosh, I didn't even think of the other platforms off of LinkedIn. And I mean, if you just touch those, there are how many others behind it between Instagram and Facebook and even Nike Run Club. I don't know if anybody's still doing that one, but yeah, it's pretty wide, and that's only what a week and a couple of days ago. So it's probably still going to have some legs into the next couple of weeks. And I've got a question for you on that before we wrap. But how about the outcome? How many miles got logged?
Yeah, so the outcome, I think the most important thing was awareness because most of the folks that pledged were donating regardless of miles ran. So running was really the vehicle to spread awareness. So in total, we raised, let me look at the specific number, $47,165. And that was across 59 different individual and company donors. We had as big as $10,000 pledged and as little as $10 pledged. Every dollar absolutely mattered. And then if we look at running participants, this piece, like I'm not disappointed on, but I definitely thought we would have seen more volume. We saw just under 450 individual people log running miles, and a couple people logged in bike miles, but I said more the better. And in total, we ended at 3,519 miles logged during the
Wow.
week.
And again, like, it really was only open from the 9th to the 13th. So I think people were catching on the 12th and logging miles on the 13th. So had it been open for another week, you'd probably have seen a whole lot more miles. But that's incredible given you just got it kicked out there and had 4 days to sign up, log some miles, and I mean, gosh, that tells me people are being honest too, right?
Totally. Totally.
But in
And
this case, it's like more the better because for every mile that got ran, you donated. So the total was 47,000 donated. And did it go across multiple organizations or all to that one organization?
it all went to one organization. We talked about, what it would have looked like to centralize the funds and then to do something custom with it. But again, using speed to our advantage, as we talked to people that were on site in Kerr County, they were needing supplies. They were needing axes and saws as they were cutting through trees.
Yeah, that's what I
And
was going to ask you is how are the funds being utilized?
Yeah, so I dropped that same question into Perplexity. That's like my current favorite search AI. The Kerr County Flood Relief Fund has raised more than $30 million since July 4th, which
Wow,
is pretty incredible.
that is
And there are
incredible.
4 distinct avenues in which they're funneling the raised capital to support Kerr County. The first is direct aid to individuals and families. The second is support for local businesses. Lots of businesses have been massively impacted. The third is first responder agencies. So think all of your first responders and your volunteer, like fire departments. And then crisis response and community organizations are the 4 key vehicles that they're funding over $30 million as of today.
Incredible. Wow. And you had a hand in that.
Because we all did.
That's amazing. That's really incredible. Um, how did your team step up?
My
I
my
want to shine the
team
light. I'm sure you're going to shine it away from it. You are always the most genuine and authentic person, but I just want to shine the light for a second on Apartment List because you all pulled this together so fast. How did your teams show up? I got to imagine they were out in purple and putting miles on and rallying their customers and
It was pretty cool. We use a software called Gong that records conversations. It also helps us provide insight as relates to what's happening across our team. And there were a lot of customer conversations last week where the first conversation was, how can we help? What you all are doing to support Central Texas. So I think seeing customers get involved, seeing our team get involved. We even had people say, hey, can I walk for this meeting instead of dialing in so that I can go
love
log some
it.
miles for what's happening? Um, I definitely try to like pass through, the credit to others, but I will say, Janet, that being backed by a business that's as cool and as thoughtful and as impactful as Apartment List, I am pretty confident that if I had been working for another company, that there's a chance that the reach wouldn't have been as big as it was able to be because of the platform that I'm afforded at
Right.
Apartment List. And I
Or as
really think
fast.
Apartment List, absolutely. So speed, support, even the Slack channel that's still buzzing as of today, a lot's to be said about doing it in an organization that really cares.
Right. Very cool. Super impressive. I don't want to take a whole lot of time because I want to be able to get this out to the airwaves, but
Sure.
the effort ran from the 9th to the 13th. And I'm sure there are still people who are just hearing about it. I saw a couple of comments on posts from some of our Run Club members that were like, oh, I just learned about this. How can I still get involved? So there's my big finish question to you is the drive may have ended, but how can people still step up and get involved? Is the link still available? Can they still put miles in? Or should they just go directly to the Care County food drive?
Yeah, so we actually bought a domain at namecheap.com for $11, alistrunsfortexas.com. So for the next year, it's going to be pointing to this
Love
Google
it.
form. We're not going to change it. So we've seen Some donations trickle in this week. The team at BH logged a bunch of miles today. They asked if it's too late. Absolutely not. There will certainly be a tail here. And I would say that's going to be the coolest thing about this is, to your point on LinkedIn, there will probably be a trickle effect. And my guess is that between you and I'll probably DM you at the end of the week and say we crossed $50,000 because we'll see an impact that continues to come through.
I mean, we saw it out of North Carolina last year and some of the areas that were hit so hard by the hurricane flooding. And it was months that they were still really in crisis and recovery. And, we all get really hyped up in the moment and then we go on with our lives. But I mean, I'm all in, Mike, if you say in August and September and October, we're firing it back up, put some miles in.
You got it. I definitely am going to think through what it looks like when we need to rally. The neat thing about playbooks in life is we all just kind of experience building one in public together. So next time we need to rally, I think we know what we'll be able to do much, much faster and probably much more impactfully.
I think so too. And I think, just kind of touting the Multifamily Media Network because they host this podcast and we've done a really good job of trying to just be of service to the industry when natural disasters like this hit. And Jennifer Carter was able to put a page on the Multifamily Media Network website early on in some of those and link areas that can be donated to first and resources. So I hope that as Apartment List continues to do this, like throw that straight over to the Multifamily Media Network. Let's keep the momentum going. But I mean, when a natural disaster strikes, it feels like you guys have a system already built.
Yeah,
It's
I
not
think so
just going to
too.
be A-List Runs for Texas. It's going to be A-List Runs for
Yeah,
the
exactly.
next. I'd love to say there is not one coming, but I've accepted that this is life and it happens, and the best we can do is rally and help.
Yep. AListHelps.com. Maybe that's the next one.
There you go. There you go. You got it. All right. Well, thank you so much for jumping on with me. And thank you to your whole crew for firing this up so fast and giving so many of us a place to dig in and help and feel like we were contributing to something and a community to align ourselves with.
Yeah,
Any,
fun to take action.
yeah, it really is. It feels good. It feels good. Any final parting thoughts to listeners on getting out there?
I think the only thing that's on my heart as I wrap here with you, Janet, is one, I was not personally impacted at all by Texas, and there's no playbook for how you respond to this kind of devastation. That's what I opened our all hands with on Friday. But I will say that finding a way to take action is a really cool feeling. And I hope everyone can realize that whether it's posting on social media, texting someone to say, I'm thinking about you, there are a lot of ways you can show support, not including financial support. So I hope everyone can just find some inspiration and realize that there's no act too big or too small. Impact matters, and we can all make an impact.
I agree. Sometimes I think we all struggle with, I can't do anything that's big enough. You can do one little thing behind the scenes that nobody even knows about, and it's big enough.
Exactly.
Yeah. Good. Well, thank you so much for jumping on with me today. I'll make sure we get that website in the show notes and get this out and shared so people can hear the impact. And just thank you from, I think, the entire industry. I'll just speak on behalf of all of us and saying thank you for throwing it together so fast and making it so easy to participate.
You bet. Thank you for the opportunity, Janet.
Thanks, Mike. Thank you for taking the time today for this session. I hope you found a bit of inspiration and wisdom to optimize your performance. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your network. And remember, this podcast is proudly brought to you by the Multifamily Media Network, your trusted source for stories, trends, and insights in multifamily living. If you're a marketing influencer, be sure to check out Cadence Marketing Solutions at cadencems.com. We've made it our mission to support marketers and lead you to the voices, resources, and tools that impact your success in this fast-paced industry.